When it comes to being a conscious gardener, I talk about making good decisions. And when we think about the commodity of water, there are really important aspects that we need to look at. The first question we need to ask is from whence the plants came. And there are many other easy tricks that I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes on the best choices for good water-wise plants. Look out for plants such as Coprosma. They come in many different colors and hues. Their thick leaves, which are almost very waxy, are great water-wise deflectors. So what does that mean? It means that the waxy coating helps them to maintain and not even want to have large sips of water. They make great focal points and are brilliant in the garden for just a bit of bright color. Look out for your winter favorites, which can also be stalwarts in the garden as perennials, which are called facies or Lampanthus. They're in ground cover forms, they're all indigenous, and they are an absolute treat and delight, not only for us, but for bees and butterflies as well. Another firm favorite are the Salvias. They come in many different forms if you've got a small garden right up to a large garden, but once again work on the same principle of beautiful clusters. From the smaller ones such as hot lips, which only get to about 30-40 centimeters, or Gregia with their bright colors. Also there's Leucantha with its purple and white little plumes, and then of course there is Salvia, which, as you know, is a killer and an absolute winner in the garden. Salvias have the little fur on the leaves, they got square stems, which is also a great indication that these plants are very water-wise. I couldn't be talking about water-wise gardening and saving water if I didn't mention South Africa's firm favourite, Agapanthus, which are sought after not only by South African gardeners, but by gardeners all across the world. Their thick, fleshy leaves as well as roots are firm favourites when choosing plants that are not going to need high water requirements. Sticking with plants that give you loads of colour with very little effort, don't overlook the daylilies. And yes, I know the flower only lasts for one day, but remember their flowering season is 3 to 4 months. From pale peaches to bright oranges and even reds, there's one to suit your garden. And with their long linear leaves that are slightly furry, they work a charm and are as tough as nails, and not much likes to even eat them. Never overlook the Plectranthus, which are as tough as nails, can grow in the shade or in the full sun, from a ground cover such as the beautiful mauve underleaf to the green on top of ciliatus, right up to the large shrub forms, which are incredibly tolerant. They can grow in dry shade, they can grow in full sun, and really have very little water requirements and are not fussy plants at all. Another plant for a dash of colour for all year round on banks and hanging baskets and in the foreground of garden beds are the osteospermums. Lovely daisy-like flowers. They can last in your garden 3 to 4 years. These indigenous daisy plants are spectacular, and once again, very low water requirements. And of course, a group of plants that are so large and so big that I would battle to even rattle off 100. But take a look out for them, keep a keen eye, and those would be any form of succulents with their big fleshy leaves. Remember, for a one little container or for ones that you can plant en masse in a garden bed, there's always something for your garden. Not only in the succulent form, but also in the form of what we call succulent type plants, which could be quite upright and tall with beautiful grey leaves. And then of course, the bigger group, which are aloes. There's one to suit every garden, from the dwarf little peri-peri to the sea urchin, and of course to our fermile favourite, the aloe ferox. There are 10 plants that form the genus of hundreds of plants within that species. There is a plant out there for you. So it's about conscious gardening, not simply about gardening. And that makes it all so much more worthwhile. Well, if you were worried at the beginning of this clip as to what to choose, I hope we have solved that now. From whether you live on the coast to whether you're up in the mountains, there are plants for you to choose. And by doing that, we become water-wise warriors. Remember, everything that I've spoken about is available at your local builders, either in-store or online. Visit the blog and the website for more great gardening ideas, hints and tips. Get to Builders and get it done.